Here we are, we're like 5 minutes from starting the inaugural School of Revivalists right here in Augusta. Check it out. Stood in front of the Father's house. I think just about everyone's here, and it's amazing because everyone's just walking right inside and going right into the glory. So let me show you. Everybody's going for it. Here's our team, getting ready, getting rocked. Hi guys.
We were standing in the back, and I remember standing next to this guy wearing a shirt very similar to the one you're wearing now. And he's getting wrecked, and I'm getting wrecked, and then his wife's getting wrecked. And I don't remember who else was in the circle, but I do remember the Edwards were in the circle. And I remember thinking, I gotta know who this guy is. So I found out he was an author, Facebook stalked him a little bit, read his book. I can quote his book. I'm not really fanboying, but kind of close. And then when we planted our own church, we knew immediately when we planted that we were going to invite the Edwards to our house, whatever that looked like. And we did last year. And all I remember one night is waking up between the stand, right, the piano stand. And I got up and I was like, what happened? And that's really what we're looking for tonight, is that you wake up off the carpet and go, what happened? But then you leave here full of something, amen?
Heaven open up. You could hear the angels join in with everybody who just erupt in praise, and it just goes on. And it was absolutely beautiful. And so Ronnie Howard Brown, they termed the coin holy laughter. So he was really just known for that. Or I read today that they called it the Holy Ghost bartender. So just full of joy, full of laughter. And you know, in God's presence, there's fullness of joy. So it's such an incredible thing when God just steps down and just tickles your belly, you know? Okay, he did send Brenda there because he was hungry. But I was listening today, John just talking about how he would go to the church at night when he knew no one was there. And he would be mopping the floor.
Wow.
He'd be mopping the floor. And he would say, God, there has to be more.
Yes.
God, there has to be more. There has to be more. And he would lay on the front of the church. He would say, God, there has to be more. There has to be more. I hear God say, John, keep going after me because you're going to find me.
Yes.
Keep going after me because you're going to find me.
We don't want to just inform you about revival. We want to experience revival. Lord, as we experience what they experienced in Brownsville, it was beautiful. It was amazing. There's still things that you long to do in the earth, if only there was a family of people who could capture it, who would be willing to stand in the face of this world and say, choose me, here I am. I will become a gateway for things that you've longed to always do in the earth, but you couldn't find anyone who was willing to be broken enough to let heaven actually move through like Jesus. It may be scary, it may be bigger than us, but we say, tonight, God. We say, tonight, God, let it be us. If you're not feeling it, choose to feel it. There is a response somewhere inside of you. Find it and ignite it. It's time to soar. Let that lift take you in. Well, if they're studying this moment right now, 20 years from now. Not for us, but for the sake of our King.
When I was a young girl, and a youth and a childhood marked with encounters by God, seeing His face, hearing His voice. I wasn't raised in a Christian home, but God chose to meet me right where I was at. And it started this thing inside of me, this burning passion to know God as He is. When I was 11, I heard His voice. So I was outside playing in the yard, making my mom a salad with grass, pine cones, whatever you can find in the yard. And I heard this loud trumpet blast, and I heard God say my name. Say, Kaylee, I've called you to take my love to the darkest corners of the planet. I was 11 years old. When I walked inside, my parents didn't know what to do. They had no grid for this. They took me to the local church and said, what's going on? And the local church was a Baptist church. They said, well, I think it's God, it's a good thing. And they said, well, oh good, we don't have to be afraid. God's going to bless it. And a few years later, it ended up in my parents' salvation, and in my pursuit of God, and me sharing encounters that I was having in the night and in the day with God, getting to know Him. So from a really young age, I was really fascinated with who God is.
We had planned to give you certificates, but Jesus showed up and said, I want to give them my certificates first. It's a living impression. It's a living impression. Lightning is a result when particles in heaven have the urge and compulsion to combine with particles in the earth. This atmosphere is primed right now with the reality that heaven desires to unite with the particles that are in the earth. We are beings of light. Did you hear that? God's on the move. The angels in Florida are like, wait a second, God's on the move in Augusta. Something is happening. There's a disturbance. There's an indwelling. There's a quickening happening in Augusta. There's a group who've gathered together and they stopped just long enough for me to invade them, for me to possess them. I showed up for a drink, and they gave me something to drink out of that which was in their heart. Jesus is saying, I showed up for a drink, and you gave me something to drink out of the being, out of that which was inside of you. He's just looking for someone to give him something to drink. He's thirsty. He's hungry. Will you feed him? Will you feed him? Will you be a place of rest for his soul? Will you be the one that says, Jesus, I have time. We have time for you. We have time, oh God. Have your way. Have your way. Lord, we won't set a table and talk about you, not set a place for you. Here, Jesus, have a seat at the head. This place is for you, Papa. This place is for you, Mama. Holy Spirit, this place is for you, Jesus. We have room in our family for your family. It's a kingdom family thing. We say God's not dead, but He's just not allowed in our services. We know you want to move, God, but we're too busy right now talking about you instead of being with you. Yes, Papa, you can have our hearts. Will you give him something to eat? Will you give him something to drink?
I couldn't wait somebody to baptize me, so she just got baptized that day in the shower. And then she had asthma and she couldn't even walk properly, so she was running all around her property that morning. It's so joyful. Yeah, so I felt like we don't need anyone to baptize us. Jesus is here. He is just baptizing every one of us here in His love, in His power, in His wisdom. So there's an increase of that love and that